Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And now we have in the studio Kathleen Keneally of Keneally Acupuncture. Welcome. Long time no see.
I know. Thank you so much for inviting me today. Sorry, let me get situated on my chair, making lots of noise here.
But you know that we haven't seen you because in the past, the radio station was in Canyon Country, right
upstairs.
Right upstairs from your office. So, we'd come in every day, say hello to you, but now it's like we're way over here in Newhall.
I know, but it's
fun.
I love the location. I mean, I love the this is great.
Oh, it is.
Miss you guys though, definitely miss having you right upstairs for sure.
Well, we're all popping in and saying hello and.
Right.
Okay.
So.
Well, we wanted to talk a little bit about, what you do, and I think part of what you do is acupuncture. And, the other side of what people don't know that you do is you treat the emotional, the mental, the psychological side of our patients. And, that's much more difficult to have to deal with. Many of our patients are in chronic pain, and their suffering changes their personality.
Absolutely.
And it makes it really difficult to every day wake up and then try to go to sleep when you're in pain or discomfort. So I know how you do it, but tell our listening audience, Kathleen, how you go about doing your job.
Well, as you said, I work on all levels with people, and Chinese medicine pretty much is it's considered a holistic medicine for that very fact that we work on the physical, the emotional, the spiritual aspects. And so when someone comes to see me, I'm looking and listening and hearing what their voice sounds like, looking what their skin tone looks like, and looking for other signs to see, okay, what else is going on underneath what might be just presenting on the surface. Mm-hmm. And that's the other part of it, is that it's about getting to what the root cause is, what really is causing this issue, whether the chronic pain is causing the depression or the depression has led to the chronic pain. I mean, they're not separate.
No, they aren't. It's amazing.
This chronic pain problem extends so much further than we even understand, because our elder senior patients in pain go to their doctor, and their doctor says, take this pill, and they take the pill, and maybe they get some relief, but then they get addicted to the medication.
Right.
Or sometimes they may not use it that much, but then their great-great-grandkids absconds with the medication from their medicine cabinet. I mean, all these things go on just because of one pill.
Right.
But you don't necessarily deal in treating pain that way.
No, not at all. I mean, when someone comes to see me, we actually also look at the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. We figure out, okay, how are you eating? Are you getting exercise? Are you having contact with family members? Do you have good relationships? Because all of these things enhance a person's lifestyle and enhance their well-being.
And not having it diminishes it.
Absolutely.
Too. And so what I think all of us as professionals treating patients should be enhancing all of their lifestyles and activities, and mentally and physically, and that's what you do.
Right.
That's the big difference between an MD like myself and those who are out there versus what you do, which is, I think, many a times is much better for our patients.
Well, like I said, I do agree that there is a place for traditional medicine for sure, but I think they work together. Because holistically, again, looking at the diet, looking at what's going on, and then treating people with herbal medicine, food as medicine, looking at, I also have within my office that I've actually started integrating within my practice is far infrared treatments have been found to be very, very helpful. So I'm having patients do far infrared on an amethyst biomat that I have that's a medical device in conjunction with the acupuncture. Because again, anything we can do to increase blood flow, circulation, helps reduce inflammation in the body. And when the body is less inflamed, obviously the person feels better.
That's That's right. The other thing, too, I've had people say to me, "Oh, you get stuck with needles? Doesn't that hurt?" I say, "No, it doesn't. You don't even know the needle is going in."
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
And the way after you've interviewed a person, you kind of know where you're going to put those needles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, exactly. That's what I'm finding out, all that information, and then that guides me in terms of where I'm going to. And sometimes I'll put needles for a headache, for example. I might put a needle in the foot, and people will say, "Yes, but I've got a headache. I have a headache. Why are you putting a needle in my foot?" Mm-hmm. And that's because the body is made up of meridian system, which are energy pathways that run through the body, and there is a point on the foot that connects to the meridian goes all the way up to the top of the head. So that's another part of probably the medicine that people don't realize.
Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Is that these energy pathways that run through the body, that's why we get pain, because they get blocked.
So there are people listening right now, maybe doctors, who are saying, "Hey, I'm in traditional medicine," and that's a bunch of nonsense. And what I say to them is that for over 2,000 years, this has all developed into understanding the meridians, understanding the treatment plan, and our traditional medicine being 200 years old, maybe, is trying to say, "Hey, use a drug," And to me, that has not succeeded. Now, I think we're realizing that, not just from the addiction, but the consequences of it cost so much, the consequences of others using the medication and getting addicted, and moving on to other medications like heroin. A lot of this is going on now, so I think the consequences we are now facing by not examining how a 2,000-year-old science is being ignored.
I always appreciate your perspective, Gene, because you do hold that broader view of medicine. Mm-hmm. And I agree. Absolutely. I think there is more and more research is coming out. So people are looking at it and saying, okay, yes, I've had so many of my patients say, well, I've told my doctor I'm having acupuncture, and they say, well, is it helping? And my patient will say, yes, it is. Well, okay, then keep doing it. Mm-hmm. So there's not so much pushback anymore in the traditional medical arena where they're going, well, there's something to this. Mm-hmm. I don't know what, but it seems to be helping. But again, like you said, the leaning towards giving people medications versus looking at what's really going on, mm-hmm. and like you said, the repercussions of getting addicted to a medication, and then the side effects from taking a particular medication, and then they take another medication on top of that to counteract the side effect. Mm-hmm. So yes, it is a cycle that I'm all for helping break. Mm-hmm. Bringing people's awareness to more natural ways of approaching health and wellness. And
we are seeing more physicians who are flexible in their thought process. But I belong to a society here of medical doctors in the United States, and their recent journal was filled with mammograms and their use, which is great. I love to see that, and it had a lot of information, and people were, trying to come to some conclusions. But I will tell you, in the writing, we look for evidence-based. We always like to use that term, but how reliable it always is, you really have to see the studies being done. But when they put this out there and then they diminish their flexibility mm-hmm. in understanding the uses of them and the impact it might have on a patient when you don't use these studies correctly, that becomes a huge problem. I know that when I did my research, and I was lucky, I was at a university that had a great statistical program, and I had data that I needed to analyze, but there was nothing to analyze it. And this was in the 1970s, and I went to the statistic committee, and they said, hey, we can analyze it like this. And it led to meta-analysis and a lot of ways that they now analyze things. And I looked at my journal the other day, and I thought, they were so strict in their interpretation. I thought to myself, maybe there's going to be a different analysis in the future that will say, maybe acupuncture does work, maybe holistic medicine does work, and not be inflexible in how we look at our treatment of patients.
Well, I really believe that that is the trend, and we're moving into that direction. My son, who's 15 in June, said to me, my son James said to me the other day, he said, "Mom, I think I'm going to become a doctor when I grow up." And I said, "That's fantastic, wonderful." And then he reached over and patted me on the arm and said, "A traditional Western doctor." and my father was a traditional doctor. My sister is. And I said, "That's fantastic." I said, "Your intention is to be out there to help people become well, then that's all that matters." And I said, you could become, which I think is where the trend is moving, an integrative practitioner. There's actually an MD who also does additional training in alternative modalities. And so
combine them
because I really believe that's where it's going.
Well, I think it's kind of true with medical marijuana.
Yeah.
That's become so much more acceptable now.
Absolutely.
And it's not that, quote, dope type.
Right.
Because I've been on it. And I have. After I went through cancer, while I was going through the treatments, I was in a lot of pain. The doctor recommended I take hydrocodone. My son came over one afternoon. He says, "Mother, that stuff will kill you." He said, "Will your doctor write you a prescription for medical marijuana?" I asked him, and he said yes. So he wrote me a prescription, and my son provided me with the CBD pills.
And did you find them beneficial?
I took 3 of them. My pain disappeared.
Wow, that's wonderful.
They don't have the woo la la stuff in them.
It just takes away the pain.
Yes,
it's the active ingredient.
It's the cannabis oil.
But don't you wonder that the hydrocodone and all these pain medications that are out there, they're being pushed on us by big pharma, but yet there's another modality that we can use. But the fear is, as it was 100 years ago now, and they started making all these movies and commercials saying, don't use marijuana. And because of that, it was a gateway drug into harder medication. Now, with my senior patients, I've never seen anyone gateway into harder medication. When you have younger kids, teenagers who can be influenced by their friends, I think the gateway is augmented. And I can see that being a problem. But, the addiction factor that you could have had in the hydrocodone was not there. And the euphoria and the problems were not there for you. But you got pain relief, and that didn't make... it makes a lot of sense. Maybe we need to start thinking about, our approach to how we're going to treat our patients and use methods that are less addicting and less affronting to the community and our society that has an effect negatively sometimes on our children.
Absolutely. And the whole idea, let's say with the acupuncture and herbal medicine and medical marijuana, is to take things that actually support our body's own ability to heal.
Absolutely.
It's not about masking the symptoms. It's not about needing to mitigate stuff with another medication. It's about supporting the body's own ability to heal itself. And that's what acupuncture does. That's what the herbal medicine does. It's about supporting the body.
That's right.
And giving it what it really needs versus...
and that supports the body not only physically, but emotionally.
Exactly.
Because like you said, if you're in pain, you're depressed, you hurt, you don't want to get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
When you get rid of that pain, you're much better off.
Life is better.
Life is better.
Your quality of life
Right.
improves. Your mobility increases. Your comprehension of how you're going to wake up. And we talked before, that plan of the day. If you are inhibited because your mobility is down secondary to pain, and you're going to take a drug that's going to cause you to be drowsy and you can't get into your car, your day is done. And so it really, we really have to redefine how we do this. We really have to sit down and have a better discussion in our community here in Santa Clarita and in society in general, because things aren't working right now. Something is wrong, and I have my opinions, but I would like to understand others so we can come to a common ground and be on the same page how we're going to approach this. But addiction in our children from medication from our seniors does not work with me.
No.
And I think that whole idea needs to be re-examined so we can start to move forward with how we're going to allow our seniors to have a worthy lifestyle, but yet our children and grandchildren not getting addicted.
Right.
So we need to work on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How we do that is beyond me, but I know the people at City Hall listen to our show, and I know there's a conference coming up related, and I saw it today on some of our blogs, and I think in our newspaper, but I think we should have an open-ended question. Can we do this in a better way, as opposed to labeling marijuana as strictly a gateway drug, when indeed it can be, but if we use it in the appropriate circumstance, it will be better for all of us.
Well, I wish they'd start calling it cannabis oil.
Yeah.
Right.
I suppose, take the label
Take that label off it.
Because, in tomorrow's headlines, they're going to, it could be that there's going to be a discussion saying Barbara Cochran is advocating the use of marijuana. And, this is just what happens when it comes to not having that discussion. So, Santa Clarita, let's have that discussion.
Yes, and gratefully there are alternatives. That now it has been made is legal, and it's medical marijuana, and there are things available for people. So, like you said, the perspective is changing.
But they're still closing down the dispensaries.
Oh,
and
I wasn't aware of that.
Yes, they are.
And there'll never be one up here.
No, not ever.
No, not in the city.
My son had to close his.
Oh, no. Wow.
And he did it because he didn't want to wait to be raided, quote unquote.
Well, now I think that, it was federal versus state. Remember that controversy where, the federal law was saying one thing, but the state law was saying something else. But, the state law you might be okay, but the federal people would come in and close you. So it made no sense in setting a business up, but yet not having defined under what law you were. And, that kind of stuff impacts so many people across the board. We need to, like I said, sit down and re-examine this, and let's have that conversation, everyone here in Santa Clarita. Let's not, live in the dark ages, but having good discussion. There's so many people in this community that have worthy opinions that can direct us in the right way, where we can come to that common ground. Let's do it, everybody.
Yep. I'm with you.
Yeah, it is a shame. It really is. But
watch out for that label, Barb. Might be headlines. Barbara Cochran.
Hey, whatever works.
Whatever gets you there. You're not,
absolutely.
That's right.
The best part about Barbara, she's not afraid. I try to make her afraid, but she doesn't care. She knows what needs to be done, so she pushes that issue.
Right, and she is an adventurer for sure.
Yep.
She's tried acupuncture, and I know several times, and so that itself, a lot of people are really fearful about even trying it because, like you said, of the needles and what is it about, and it's
But it worked for me. Absolutely worked for me, and so did the cannabis oil. That worked for me also. Hydrocodone worked too. However,
a few side effects.
Really?
Just a few.
Liver and kidney and whoa, bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, as a physician, I have always, people have knee problems, for instance, and ice it, heat it, move it, do things slow, use a cane if you need to, blah, 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 blah. that's what I've had to use. But now I have these other modalities. It's not a lot, but, acupuncture is high on my list for people to use and take advantage of. And we have to bring all these modalities together so the public understands the usefulness, and we have to get testimony from people like Barb to say, hey, yeah, this could be better for us. But the way it's going now, we're just totally propagandized by, big pharma, but also sometimes government that says, this isn't going to work. And I think we need to redirect that and make sure people understand there's possibly a way it might work. So let's talk about it.
Right. And like I said, people are most commonly connecting acupuncture with pain, but it deals with a whole host of other type of situations, from digestive to emotional to depression, women's issues. I mean, it's really covers the gamut. There's very few things that it can't, in some way, again, back to facilitating the body's ability to heal itself. And so if we find the ways to balance it out, then the body knows what to do. And,
there are meridians that I do think have an effect on the balance, like the hormonal balance in our body. And, with women's issues, women, when they're young, they go through their menstrual cycles and their hormonal changes, and it affects them physically and mentally. And, I'm glad I didn't have to go through any of that. I'm thankful, but, I feel bad that some women do, but, it's opening up a whole new way of treatment for a lot of our teens and 20s and 30 years old, the postpartums. I mean, it makes a huge difference if you're open-minded and try to explore those other ways of treating yourself.
Well, and also menopausal symptoms. I mean, it's huge for treating menopausal symptoms.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those things, too, that in Chinese medicine, they consider menopause, they call it the second spring.
The second spring.
Right? So in the United States, menopause and hot flashes, and, it's more or less a dreadful, people are dreading.
You're right.
It's a downer. Right, it's a bummer, right? I don't want to have to do that. And in Chinese medicine, they consider it a second spring. And what they mean by that is that all the reproductive energy, all the energy that women put into bearing children and raising the children and all of that energy, all that creative energy, now you can turn it inward. Now women that are postmenopausal can use that creative energy for themselves.
That's right.
And do other things. And you see, we enter into this time in our lives with this attitude, then menopause changes. It becomes something to look forward to. So acupuncture is very beneficial for that as well. And I love that idea of the second spring, that it's a beautiful time. It's not a time to dread.
And we're in the first spring. We're just coming into spring right now.
Yes, we are.
But that second spring of life, people have to understand that to move in that direction, you just keep your mind open.
Absolutely.
And not doing that, I think, is detrimental to them, Kathleen. I just think it is.
Right. Okay.
Are we going to sign off here?
No, we're going to take a break, I think, aren't we? We're talking with Kathleen Keneally, who's our guru here and helping those to understand here in the community on the Senior Hour on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're speaking with Kathleen Keneally of Keneally Acupuncture. And believe me, it works. I've been there and done that. And what else are you going to talk about now? Well,
Kathleen? I just kind of wanted to let people know that we're entering right into allergy season, springtime, and all the pollen. And acupuncture works great for allergy treatments. It helps, again, boost the immune system, strengthen the body's resistance. And I have an event that I do, specific seasonal treatments, and that's coming up on the 20th of March, which is a Sunday. And it's from 9 to 6, and it's a very specific treatment that I do that more or less aligns the body with the energy of the seasons. So as we're moving into spring, it's connected to the wood element in Chinese medicine. And so what I'm doing is I'm strengthening the wood energy in each person's body. I'm bringing them into alignment with the season, which gives their immune system a big boost. And I've had so many patients tell me almost instantaneously or within a couple of days relieves many of their allergy symptoms. And so it's a really, really, especially for people that know that they have problems with spring allergies, this is a very, very helpful treatment. And it's a lot of fun also. It's kind of an event, like a fair situation. We have other services also available that day. And but the seasonal treatment is very, very potent and very helpful for people.
So that's March the 20th from 9 to 6, and that's a Saturday?
It's a Sunday.
A Sunday.
That's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday. It's actually the first day of spring.
So tell our listeners where you are, and we know where you are.
Yes, you do. I am located at 18635 Soledad Canyon Road, number 101, and I am located within the beautiful spa of Beyond Harmony Med Spa. So I now co-locate with Beyond Harmony, and we have a wonderful time together. And my phone number is 661-252-4100, and my website is KeneallyAcupuncture.com. So if you have any questions...
Absolutely. Keneally.com. It couldn't get any more simple than that.
KeneallyAcupuncture.com. That's it.
Kathleen, thanks for being on the show again today, not just for the first spring, but also understanding what's going on out in the real world without throwing a bunch of evidence-based things out there that we're not going to understand. It's real, it works, it happens, and I hope our seniors take advantage of that. Once again, your number is 252-4100. Thanks for being on the show. We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and SCV in Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.
Yes. Thank you.